My name's Nadine Gaskell and I work as a biodiversity coordinator at Knox City Council. One of the roles I have is to actually engage and educate young people in Knox about the values of biodiversity. That can be quite a challenging task. We are constantly threatened in our urban areas with increasing development and infrastructure, and so the biodiversity is becoming smaller and smaller. In fact, Knox actually has about 185 locally threatened species. So from our perspective, we really need to encourage young people to become advocates for the local biodiversity, and I think to do that in a really dry way is not necessarily going to engage with the kids. So to do something that's quite creative and fun is a way that we feel that we can maybe get through to some kids that may not even be open to it. So the original concept was around getting the kids to engage with the bush in a fun way. So today we're doing several different activities. We're having a bit of a treasure hunt and a nature walk. We're doing some planting so that kids can get dirty and feel what it's like in the earth. And we're also learning about some of the threats to biodiversity, which is particularly with a school over the road from the Bushland Reserve. There's a lot of litter, so the kids are doing a bit of a clean-up activity as well. And what we want them to do today, though, is not just to take on these activities, but to actually feel and touch and smell the local vegetation, understand how that can actually be symbiotic with some of the animal species, but then for them to actually take those interpretations away and create the artistic interpretation through fashion design. So hopefully what these kids are doing today is exactly that. They're feeling, touching, they're interacting with nature. They're going to take their interpretation of what this bush is about and put that into some form of outfit, which is going to be a creative outlet at our Sustainability Festival, which will be very exciting.
G'day, I'm Adam from Knox City Council. I'm a bushland officer and we're here today talking about bushland and different parts of the flora and fauna. Today I'm explaining to the kids the different vegetation we find, how it feels, what function it places for the mammals and the different animals in the bushland. The planting we're doing today is to help encourage and support the native vegetation that's here already. There's several different species of grasses, wattles and trees that the kids will be planting today. Delta Reserve is in a bit of a windsock area, and it collects a lot of the rubbish that comes in off the streets. And so another activity that kids are doing is picking up the rubbish and seeing how when they're in their school yard they can pick up the rubbish so it doesn't come down to their vegetation areas.
Hello, I'm Adrian. I'm working on the project with Joe and the council and with Roble Primary School.
I'm Gretel, I'm the choreographer for the project.
And I'm Bronwyn and I'm assisting with the textile workshops.
I'm a freelance designer. I design sets and costumes, but mainly for theatre. I don't really do television or film, but mainly theatre work, and I work with different community groups, etc.
My background is really in creating performance from place, so movement-based performance, but it's not really highly technical dance. Performance that is often site-specific, so working with the particular qualities of an environment. So in this project, working with Indigenous plants of the local area is really exciting for me. And today here we are at this Delta Reserve, and the kids and we also are exploring the textures and the feeling and the sort of atmosphere that each of these plants carries with it. Shapes and contours and all of these things can really inform the movement and the character. So working with kids, it's not so literal, it's taking it into a more fun sort of dimension as well, and I think character is really a good way of doing that, to latch on to something that they can relate to.
My background is in fashion. but also in craft and more sort of sustainable and workshop-based sort of textiles. I'm really looking forward to this project in terms of using materials that we can like found objects or sustainable materials, recycled materials. That's something that's been a real part of my work, and also getting the kids to really think outside the box with creating things that are perhaps like a leaf or a flower, but not having strict rules on how to make it. So really looking at the textures around us today has been good, and then being able to take the sort of colours and plant personalities back and use these recycled products to make something out of nothing, really.
So for this project we need to devise a set that works for a number of groups, but for our parade it's the centrepiece of where this is going to take place. So we've got all the primary school kids, which is about 75 kids, in this environment, which we think will be a sand-covered floor with little pockets of environment, little worlds that we make from various materials that respond to this space and to the dance that we're going to create. So it's a very, I think it's going to be quite an interesting mixture of found objects and real materials and sourced materials. But it should be very cosy, and there'll be an intimacy about it, but it should invite our audience in, and they should feel like they're a part of the space. So it will become an inclusive sort of space. Yes.
Like a forest?
Possibly like a forest, but it should envelop them. They should feel like they're a part of a world, like it should wrap around them.